Hello, with a Trackmania circuit here in a completely different vein to my previous work. Um, Putting the mania in Trackmania this time, so to speak. The other sort of style of track you get on Trackmania, apart from sort of standard circuits, are trick tracks, things with sort of very technical and complicated maneuvering needs to navigate them. So I sort of put my mind to it, and I thought I'd like to make one of those. My inspiration behind this, oddly enough, actually, is it's loosely inspired by the rooftop run levels found in Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Generations. It's not modelled after any set pieces in it particular, but I decided it would be a neat idea to sort of just use buildings generally for the track. I started that out, and it didn't work into a very interesting track. It was full of a lot of just 90-degree corners and a couple of ramps, and most of the track parts were incompatible with each other, really. So I took the starting section, which you can see there. It's just a set of buildings. It drops down each level between them, so you can go forward, and then you turn a right, and you fall off and land on those three roads. Originally, I only had the centre road, which led down towards the checkpoint in the next corner, but it was quite punishing, especially as you couldn't necessarily see where the track was from the building. So I added the side roads on to the left and right of it. But you can sort of see in the picture they have a much steeper incline at the bottom, so you will lose speed if you land on them. So the middle is still ideal. You then go into a right-hander, and it looks like the track sort of disappears a bit here. But what happens is you go through a section with a loop built around it for decoration. You then move right and go up on a corkscrew around the wall and down onto a lower section. You can see it a lot better from this angle. There are boosters on the inside to make sure that you get up to speed. You then ride the wall down in a 180 and then come down and land on this section of white track that you can see a lot better from this angle. The idea then was you would then drop through the floating ring checkpoint and land on top of a bunch of viewing platforms, drive around those to get back to the actual track. I ended up actually inadvertently finding a shortcut here during testing, which I kept in because it really fits well with the Trackmania theme of high risk, high reward. So we then come to another checkpoint, and this leads us into a slope. You can see a lot better from this angle. It crests very, very gently, and then has two steep sections. The idea here is that you're supposed to, ideally you want to hit it and take off, and then use Trackmania's interesting physics to air brake and then land on the right-hander. It's quite easy to overshoot, and it's quite easy to also brake too much and then land on the track and flip yourself over. But the track was already fairly challenging, although the more you played, obviously muscle memory kicks in and it starts to get a little easier. And this offered a completely different style of challenge compared to the rest of the track. This then takes us into our the last part of the track, and you can see the boosters from this angle. We then fly up into a 90-degree ramp, go sailing into the air and into a loop, which then jettisons us off onto the last part of track. The actual jump up to the loop is a lot bigger than you would see in most tracks. One thing I could have done, obviously you then come out and you're ejected from the loop onto the next bit of track. This doesn't always leave you with a safe landing, as you'll see in the second video. I'm including two videos this time, one for a standard run and one including the shortcut I discovered during testing. One thing I could have done here is I could have had it so that the loop at the top split and became wider, so that you could adjust your course on it and then not have to be ejected off straight away. But in the end, it ended up being, it's not really detrimental in that as long as you're basically heading in a straight line when you come off of the loop, you won't crash. It can actually be beneficial to come off it on a slightly wonky angle, as you'll see in the second video, but it's difficult to do. We then go around the second loop. This will be taken at quite low speed generally from the landing, and then we go around just a short corner that tightens to the end. So, with that over and done, let's take a look at the track. Here we are with the first recording, which is the slow in inverted commas recording. Here you can see all these steeps buildings, and this brings us down towards this first section, coming down towards the wall ride section. you can make it through that at full speed if you take the corner very well. This is the way when I was planning it, I intended for this section to be done. You'd slow down, drop through this checkpoint, onto the top of these stands, and then drive around them. When you drive on grass in Trackmania, it slows you down a lot and it doesn't have much grip, so it'd be preferable to drive around on top, but you can use the grass as a runoff if you make a mistake. This is the jump section where you need to brake carefully, and this then shoots us down in towards this huge loop. One thing I will say actually is it's a little difficult to see what's going on sometimes from these replays, but in-game you can toggle to an FPS view, which makes certain bits of it much easier. So there we go, coming in towards the end, and now we'll have a look at a recording using the shortcut I found. Here we go with the fast recording. Most of it will be quite similar, but there is a little bit of line optimization in taking the corners so that things are done a little quicker. Mistake notwithstanding, because I did mess up this corner slightly here. But obviously because of the slide I ended up not losing too much speed. The shortcut I found was you could just slide through the checkpoints like that, just jettison yourself off the track and land near this one. You do have to drive along the grass, which is a little slower, but overall it works out considerably in your favour and it saves quite a lot of time. We then come down towards the big jump into the loop. You'll see what I mean now about coming offline slightly and it proving beneficial. This is completely by accident though, but such is the nature of Trackmania. I'd like to leave that sort of thing in. So thank you for watching.